Hello there. During the time of the Galactic Republic's fall and the rise of the Galactic Empire, Emperor Palpatine decided that it would be a good idea to replace all of the main ships of the Galactic Republic during the time of the Clone Wars and toss them out completely, replace them with new fighters that he would make that were cheap to make and that were easy to manufacture. And just like I said in the last video, Emperor Palpatine wanted to get rid of the Z Series Headhunter, the V Wing, the ARC 170, and the Y Wing, and replace them with the TIE Fighter. So today we are going to be talking about the new capital ships of the Empire and how exactly they were made and how exactly they were commissioned and why they were replacing the older ships of the Galactic Republic. So without further ado, here we go. And obviously, the first place we're going to start out with is obviously the Acclamator class assault ship, which was one of the original ships that was created during the Clone Wars to support the entirety of the Clone Army in the Galactic Republic, and it was extremely effective in every way, shape, and form, considering the fact that it lasted all the way from the Galactic Republic's Clone War, all the way to the transition of the Empire, and even further beyond that as the Empire fell, and then got restored later on down the line in Legends. The ship itself was created by Rothana Engineering as a heavy cruiser costing 29 million credits. That's 752 meters in length, 460 meters in width, with a zero point 0.6 class hyperdrive and multiple reactors, shielding, neutronium impregnated hulls, advanced navicomputers, and much, much more. With an armament of 12 quad turbo laser turrets, 24-point defense system laser cannons, 4 missile torpedo launch tubes, and 700 crew members, along with 16,000 clone troopers, 320 speeder bikes, 80 LAT transports, 48 ATTEs, 36 SPHAs, and 11,000 tons worth of cargo. The Acclamator class assault ship was actually so powerful, so well made, and actually was so great in its own right that it lasted longer than the Venator class Star Destroyer, as it was part of the Galactic Republic, the Galactic Empire, the Zon Consortium, the Alliance to Restore the Republic, the Restored Empire, and the Ma Irregular Fleet, with only one capital ship from the Republic remaining, as it was also transitioned into the Empire, and that was the Victory class Star Destroyer. The Victory class Star Destroyer was, of course, made sometime at around 20 BBY or maybe even 19 BBY, depending on what novel you're reading, and it was the replacement for the Venator class Star Destroyer that later on down the line would be scrapped and would be thrown out of commission, as the Victory class Star Destroyer would become the initial Star Destroyer for the Galactic Empire, created by Quat Drive Yards. The Victory class Star Destroyer cost about 57 million credits and was introduced as a planetary defense ship, a planetary assault ship, a ground troop support ship, and a ship-to-ship combatant that was restricted specifically to the military, that had affiliations with Galactic Republic, the Galactic Empire, the Corporate Sector Authority, the New Republic, the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances, the Imperial Remnant, and the Confederation. But along with all those roles, the Victory class Star Destroyer also had a massive armament and a massive complement of fighters and different support ships that would support ground troops and troops in space, with 10 different quad turbo laser batteries, 40 double turbo laser batteries, concussion missiles, tractor beam emitters, and having TIE fighters, drop ships, transport ships, AT-ATs, juggernauts, and HAVR A9 floating fortresses, with a crew of about 5,400 gunners, with a minimum crew of 1,785, with 2,040 passengers and a metric capacity of 8,100 tons. And of course, like I said earlier, the Venator class Star Destroyer would be replaced by the Victory 1 Star Destroyer, and then the Victory 2 Star Destroyer would come around later, and it was somehow even better than the Victory 1 for some reason. The Victory 2 Star Destroyer, of course, would be pretty much the same as the Victory 1 Star Destroyer, with more passengers, more crew, more supporting complemented TIE fighters, Lambda class ships, AT-ATs, AT-STs, juggernauts, and various supporting vehicles, with an armament of about 20 turbo laser batteries, 20 double heavy turbo laser batteries, ion cannons, and tractor beam emitters. The entirety of the Victory 2 was basically, I think, just a giant scam, considering how good the Victory 1 was. There was really no reason to call it the Victory 2, because it was basically the same thing. But if there was a ship that you wanted to complement and say it was basically way different than the Victory 1 and Victory 2 class Star Destroyers, that would of course be the Imperial class Star Destroyer, because holy crap! And if you thought the Victory 1 and 2 were bad, this is a completely different level. The Imperial class Star Destroyer was treated as a multi-function capital, command, planetary subjugation, troop and vehicle deployment, and it was literally everything that you could ask for in a ship to hold an entire center. It was introduced in 19 BBY, retired by 9 BBY, and they created over 10,000 different individual Imperial-class Star Destroyers to navigate throughout the entirety of the galaxy, used by the Imperials, the Alliance to restore the Republic after they were captured, the Scourge, the New Republic, and the Imperial remnants, especially used by Thrawn's forces. Along with that, it had a massive crew of 37,000 different crew members, 9,000 officers, 27,000 enlisted, over 1,000 different variations of droids with a minimum crew of 2,000, with consumables to last for 2 years, and different security droids and stormtroopers, just to name a few. With a complement of 72 different variations of TIE fighters, 20 AT-ATs, 30 AT-STs, and AT-DPs, different transports, gunships, Lambda-class shuttles, hyperdrive pods, and speeder bikes, along with a massive complement of different turbo laser batteries, ion cannons, tractor beam emitters, and much, much more. And of course, with that being said, we have to talk about the most powerful ship in the entire history of the Empire, and that is, of course, the legendary Star Dreadnought, because holy crap. And of course, if we're going to be talking about the Star Dreadnought, we obviously have to talk about the Executor. Really the only one singular Star Dreadnought throughout the entirety of Star Wars that we see on screen and that we have a lot of information about, because this thing was insane. Created by Quat Drive Yards, a modified Executor-class Star Dreadnought costing 325 billion credits. With over 5,000 turbo lasers, over 1,000 different ships complementing the Star Dreadnought, one Dark Lord of the Sith, 280,784 officers, pilots, and enlisted crew members, with at least one vehicle commander, Imperial Navy troops, Imperial starfighter pilots, over 38,000 stormtroopers, and different variations of droids along with support staff, Imperial cadets, and a cargo capacity of 105,000 tons. This thing was probably the most dangerous ship in the entirety of the Galactic Empire's fleet, and everyone knew it. And of course, the Star Dreadnoughts in general were used by, majority-wise, the Galactic Empire, the Home Defense Corps, the Imperial Breakaway Warlords, the Imperial Remnant, somehow by the New Republic because they somehow got one, and the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances during the time where they were attacking and fighting the Yuuzhan Vong. But unfortunately, the OG Executor was destroyed during the Battle of Endor as Gold Leader's A-Wing was crashing into the bridge of the Executor, causing it to drip down and crash into the Death Star. Rip the OG King. And honestly, those are all the capital ships created by the Galactic Empire at the time. Some of them were created during the time of the Galactic Republic, but only as prototypes and only as ideas, but they managed to stick around through the very end. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, comment, and make sure to share with your friends. I will see you later.